A second ago, you stood in a house you somehow knew, talking to a face you were sure you recognized. Then you open your eyes, and where did all of it just go? The house is fading. The face is gone. 10 seconds later, all that's left is a warm shape you can't name. An entire world, gone before your feet hit the floor. And here's the strange part. You can remember a boring lunch from 3 days ago without even trying. But a whole vivid world you were just living inside vanished in seconds. It feels like forgetting. But that word is wrong. Your dream was never really lost at all. And where it actually went is where this gets strange. This happens to everyone, every single night, whether you remember it or not. So most people reach for the obvious answer. Dreams are just nonsense, right? Random noise your brain sweeps away the moment you wake. It sounds reasonable, but watch it fall apart. Your brain keeps meaningless things all the time. The color of a stranger's coat on the bus. A pointless argument from years ago you still can't shake. If your brain deleted things just for being unimportant, those would be gone first. They're not. So being meaningless can't be why the dream disappears. And there's a bigger problem. Deleting something takes a moment, and this happens far too fast for that. So here's the real shape of it. The dream isn't being erased when you wake. It was never fully written down in the first place. There was nothing solid there to delete. You woke up holding something that was never properly saved at all. To see why, you need to know what your brain was running on while it built that dream. The moment you start dreaming, your brain quietly changes its chemistry. During dreaming sleep, one important messenger drops sharply. It's called noradrenaline, and its job is to flag a moment as worth keeping. When something matters while you're awake, noradrenaline rises and tells your brain to save this. But in dreaming sleep, that chemical runs low. The signal that stamps a memory down is barely firing. At the same time, another chemical called acetylcholine climbs high. That's the mix that lets your brain build wild, vivid scenes in the first place. So your brain is fully switched on for creating the dream. It's just switched off for saving it. Picture a camera that films everything in perfect detail, but the save button barely works. The picture is right there on the screen, alive and moving. The second you look away, there's no file left behind. That low chemistry explains why the dream is written down so weakly. But here's the catch. A weak save button should still leave a trace, a smudge, a fragment, and often you're left with absolutely nothing. But there's a second thing working against you, and it hits the instant you open your eyes. Waking up floods your senses all at once. Light, sound, the blanket, the ceiling above you. All that real information pours in and lands right on top of the fragile dream, and the dream can't compete. Sleep scientists have actually watched this happen. In these studies, researchers wake a sleeper and ask for the dream right away. Then they compare that to sleepers asked after even a short delay. The difference is dramatic, not subtle. Catch the dream in the first seconds, and a lot of it is still there. Wait, even a little, and most of it is already gone. Robert Stickgold, a sleep researcher at Harvard Medical School, spent years mapping how fast dream recall collapses. The pattern is the same for everyone. The longer you're awake, the less you keep. You've probably felt this yourself. Lie still, eyes shut, and the dream lingers a moment longer. But the second you reach for your phone, it's gone for good. Now your brain has a real thing to hold, and the dream was only half written. The dream is competing with the first solid thing you see, and the solid thing always wins. So weak saving and instant overwrite both chip away at it. But even that isn't the strangest part, because the way your brain builds a dream is nothing like the way it builds a memory. Think about a memory you can actually keep. It has a place, an order, a beginning, and an end. That structure is what lets you find it again later. There's a part of your brain that builds those stories. It's called the hippocampus, and it works like a librarian. While you're awake, it files each event into a story with a clear thread. Later, you pull that thread and the whole memory comes back. But while you dream, that librarian works completely differently. The scenes still arrive, bright and full. They just aren't being tied into any stable order. No clear beginning, no middle, no end being stitched together. The dream simply is all at once with no timeline holding it up. And that's why it feels so total while you're inside it. You're not tracking a story. You're just living the moment. Then you wake and try to tell someone what happened, and it falls apart in your mouth. You reach for the thread to pull it back, and there's no thread there. So here's the part that should unsettle you. That dream that felt completely real and whole had almost nothing holding it together in the first place. Now here's the part almost nobody expects. The dream didn't fade because you woke up. You woke up because your brain was already switching modes. Dreaming sleep ends when your brain flips back toward waking chemistry, and that switch begins before the dream is ever saved, so the dream was already disappearing while you were still inside it. You didn't lose the dream when you opened your eyes. It was never handed to the part of you that keeps memories at all. By the time you were awake enough to reach for it, the recording had already stopped. But this raises one obvious question. If nothing gets saved, why do some dreams stay with you for years? The answer is fear. Deep in your brain sits a small alarm center called the amygdala. Its whole job is to react to threat. When a dream turns terrifying, that alarm fires hard, and that jolt of fear can force a save the sleeping chemistry was skipping. It stamps the frightening piece down with enough force to survive. That's why the nightmare where you were falling still feels burned in. Not because it mattered, because it scared you. The calm, wonderful dreams had no alarm to stamp them, so they slipped away with everything else. So tomorrow morning, try this before you move a muscle. You wake, eyes still shut, and the dream is still hanging there. Don't open your eyes, don't reach for anything. Just say the dream, out loud, once right where you are. You're forcing a save that the sleeping chemistry skipped. You're grabbing the thread before the light and the noise wipe it clean. And notice this, the dream you still have at breakfast is almost never the pleasant one. It's the one that gripped you, that scared or shook you. That's the alarm doing its work again, stamping the fearful piece down hard. So the next time a dream is gone before you can catch it, stop blaming yourself. You're not careless. You didn't lose it. You simply woke into a brain that had already stopped recording. So think about what your night really was. It was full of whole experiences your waking self was never meant to keep. The forgetting isn't a flaw in you. It's the price of a brain that runs an entirely different program while you sleep. Every night, it builds worlds and drops them without ever asking you first. So the dream that slipped away this morning wasn't lost. It was simply never yours to hold. The you that wakes up and the brain that dreamed are almost two different machines. One built the world. The other just walked in after the recording stopped, which leaves one unsettling question hanging in the air. If your brain can build and drop a whole world without asking you, how much of your waking choosing is really yours? That question isn't just talk. One famous experiment caught the brain making a choice a few seconds before the person felt themselves decide, and you can watch that story right now on your screen. Subscribe to Where Why Begins for more strange reasons behind the things you never stop wondering about.